Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is Hot Topic. We're going to be talking about financial freedom, and we're welcoming back someone who's been here before. His name is Randy Langenderfer. Let's welcome him to the show. Randy, come on out. Hello.
Good morning, Dr. Jacalyn. How are you? It's good to see you again.
Thank you. Thanks for being here again. Our last show was so interesting, and I think it's a topic that is really hot and important for people when they think about financial freedom, because many of us are literally chained to bills and to paychecks week by week. So, Randy, how did you get interested in this topic enough that you decided to take it on as a career?
Yeah, I like many people in corporate America career. I was chasing the ladder of success, and about 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, I was working for a private equity firm, a Carlisle-based company, and just realized that this was going to come to an end. And I was at the position of my life where I had attained a good income, a good job, but it was a job, and realizing that could be taken away from me at any given day or any given hour. And when that became imminent, it really forced me to think about developing alternative income streams for me beyond just my day job. Was really the thought process of how it started.
Thanks for sharing that, Randy. And you are the president of InvestArk Properties, which is a great title, by the way. I love it. Before we dive into your business model, and how you can help people, there are many people out there right now sitting at a desk, working from home or in an office, and they're thinking, I can't do it anymore. I'm sick of it, but I can't give up this paycheck and I can't give up the health benefits. So what would you say to them? Because you did it, I did it. There are many of us who have done it. What's your advice?
Well, my advice is probably the same. You to just keep on keeping on. Be encouraged. It is not something you walk away from, in 24 hours, unless you're very emotional. But I think it's something that I planned for nearly 10 years before I actually did it, because I was not wanting to step away and have an income stream of $20,000 or $30,000. My wife likes to, we spend more than that. Let me just put it that way. And so I really was very deliberate in planning this transition of my own to real estate and syndication specifically, and would encourage other people to develop a long-term plan, their own investment objective. It doesn't have to be real estate, though I encourage that. It can be stocks and bonds and investment. The single thing that got my attention many years ago is when I heard someone say, people spend more time planning their summer vacation than they do their lifetime finances. And if you stop and think about that, you probably have someone in mind in your life who maybe fits that model. I have a real good friend that's a physician, makes a lot of money, but he burns through it pretty rapidly and is struggling to find money to buy a new car. And so just think about that, parking that for a second. People spend more time planning their summer vacation than they do their lifetime finances.
Yes, that is sobering for sure. And also, Randy, with Instagram and all these social media platforms, we see all of these A-list celebrities from around the world posting things about themselves. And then we read in the paper that they went broke. And you think to yourself, wait, you were making how much money and now you have nothing. So What does that trajectory look like in terms of, in your experience, of how much you're making and how much you should be putting aside for your financial freedom and retirement?
Well, I think that depends on everybody, but I think in my own world, I started out in the traditional corporate 401ks and started out. I've always for 20 years attempted to max out my 401k contribution in the companies. There are those who say don't do that. I'm a saver though, and I think people have to start small. I would say at a minimum, at a very, very minimum, wherever your corporate job is, whatever they're contributing to your 401k is your starting point. If they're doing 3%, 5%, or whatever they're doing, you want to match that. That is free money. And everybody should be saving that at a minimum. And then you got to just expand from there. Try to do 1% increase a year or something like that, something formulaic that is not emotionally driven. And you'd be surprised, I didn't wake up until my oldest daughter was going to go to college. And I realized I had not saved appropriately or developed a plan for her. And so that was another wake up aha moment in my life, was to, oh, yeah, you got that coming. And no, by the way, after that, there's a wedding to be dealt with that dads and moms want to pay for. So start small, incrementally add to it. And over a longer period of time, this is not a rocket scientist anybody's hearing, but it does significantly add up. Look for alternative investments too.
Thanks, Randy. I appreciate that. And I think also from what you just said, it's never too late to start. We might think, oh, well, I wasted all these years not doing it, but just start doing it now.
Yeah, the old cliche, when's the best time? 20 years ago or today?
Exactly.
20 years ago or today.
So you talked about alternative investments, and we're going to talk about real estate as well. It's great to have passive income, because for those people who don't have it, you're sleeping and the money's coming in. And there's a number of ways that you can create those passive income streams. What, in your experience, Randy, are some of the most fruitful ways to earn passive income?
Well, I think when I hit that wall for a private equity firm, and I started looking at a lot of different options. Like a lot of people, I started looking at buying a franchise. I looked at buying a small business. There are many different options out there, but I locked into, just as you said, passive income, because I really like that idea. And so of getting mailbox money or money while you sleep. And for me, people can start out, there's many different, you have passive income through stocks and bonds, though it may not be regular and it's not very controllable, and you don't get tax advantage to it or anything like that. So for me, I identified and found real estate was really, the number one way to people have historically built personal wealth is real estate. Yeah, that's prior to the .com age, maybe, with people with tech that have instantly gotten wealth and multi-million dollars. But real estate is really a true proven record for developing passive income and building wealth, generational wealth, over a period of time.
Thanks, Randy. And I think a question people might be asking themselves is, okay, when you say real estate, are you talking about commercial real estate? Are you talking about multifamily? Are you talking residential? What exactly are you speaking of?
And I would use that term very broadly. So I'm a multifamily person, but I think for the listening audience, it doesn't have to be multifamily. We can talk about that and why I like it so much, but commercial real estate, whether it be a REIT, a mutual fund REIT, real estate investment trust is what a REIT stands for. The person, let me back up a step, if I may. So I always give the illustration. My former employer, I'm in Houston, Texas, a large academic medical center. We had a billion endowment fund. And in that endowment fund is your traditional asset allocation of stocks and bonds. About 6-8 years ago, though, they started breaking out a piece of that allocation to stocks, bonds, and commercial real estate. So now commercial real estate is a single line item in that portfolio mix. So, and I think you find your big place people have some piece of their asset allocation in real estate. So if it's good enough for the big boys, it's probably good enough for the average schmoes like myself. And then it becomes, what class of commercial real estate do you want to be in? Do you want to be in mean, there's four primary classes. For me, there's retail, there's industrial, there's multifamily, and there's office. So I don't want to invest any of my money in offices today, given all that we know. Retail, strip centers, shopping centers and stuff. So to me, the only two classifications really left are multifamily and industrial. Industrial means just that: manufacturing, warehouses, other asset classes. So those are the two primary areas that I narrowed down my search to in commercial real estate, and settled on multifamily because simply everybody needs a place to live. You may not always need a warehouse, or Amazon may not always be the king of the hill building warehouses everywhere, but everybody needs a place to live. And so simple that, and then the value of syndication and the value of, once you get into commercial real estate, the three reasons you really do it is you get positive cash flow. We talked about passive income. You get favorable tax treatment on your tax return with commercial real estate, and you get forced appreciation, which is different than the single family space, where the value is based upon the comps in your neighborhood. Your house, your primary residence, is based upon the comps in your neighborhood, what you can sell it for. Well, in commercial real estate, that forced appreciation is really based upon how much cash flow the property is generating, whatever type it is. That cash flow determines the value of the property. And so if you can increase the cash flow by either increasing the revenue or decreasing the expenses, you're going to increase the value of that property, thus forced appreciation. So you control it. I can put all the money in my house I want right now, build a beautiful thing, but it isn't going to go up that much because it's, a palace in an average neighborhood. So anyhow, let me pause there and see if there are any questions.
Yes, thank you so much. I have a few questions just for the general audience who maybe is thinking, why did he eliminate retail and office? What's wrong with investing in them?
Well, there's nothing wrong with it, I guess, if you're knowledgeable in those areas. But in retail, I just think that the evolving online focus and delivery of goods and products across America today, there are still many exceptions to that, right? But I haven't studied it enough to feel comfortable with it, and it is very it's very location specific, and you gotta know somebody. And I guess that could be true of any asset class. But generally speaking, retail has suffered, and it depends on where you're at too, whether you're in a growth city or you're in an old established Rust Belt neighborhood that determines that value. And office just has suffered immensely in the last since COVID, because all corporate clients are exiting their office space and trying to dump it because there's either a hybrid model or a work from home model. And so their people aren't coming into the office, and they simply don't need the amount of space that they have leased. And so they're trying to dump it. And that's the real rationale for why I say multifamily and industrial.
Makes perfect sense. Thank you very much. So for someone who's interested in getting involved, what requirements do they need? How much money do they have to have?
Yeah, it just depends. So I tell people that want to be in real estate or have something in real estate in their portfolio, there are many different areas. You can, as I mentioned, you can join a real estate REIT, a mutual fund. That's one avenue to get something in your portfolio if you want to do that, to start small. A lot of people will buy a single family house and rent it. I don't like that option, only because I don't want to deal with tenants. And they're, the water heater went out at 2:00 in the morning, or the air conditioning is not working. But it's a good option. Some people like that. I just don't have that much energy these days. Other people like myself start out in multifamily, where you put syndications of investors together to go out and buy a large asset, 100-unit apartment building in some place in America. And to get started in that, you really just need to find a sponsor, somebody that does this, that like, and trust, and get to know them, understand their track record, ask them questions, see where they're investing at. What's their investment philosophy? Are they investing in Topeka, Kansas, or Tallahassee, Florida? Do they like newer properties, older properties? Do they focus on, fixer-upper specials, or do they focus on new builds only? And encourage people to really think about developing their personalized investment strategy of what they're looking for, because everybody's different. There's no one size fits all. I talked to tons of people, and everybody has a different objective. So if that makes any sense, either cash flow or appreciation or anything in between.
Absolutely does make sense. Yes. So, do you think that there are still opportunities here in the States? When I think about where I am now, and there was nothing here 40 years ago, and now it's incredible what's taken place. And if this could be, if somebody could find the next Avalon, New Jersey, for example, what that might look like. Do you think those opportunities exist?
Well, I admit my biases. Yes, I am bullish on this asset class, and I said because everybody needs a place to live, and I think especially another macro driver in our economy is that we're becoming a nation of renters. There are many people who don't want to own a home today, or they can't afford to own a home. I have millennial children that have great incomes, but they don't have a balance sheet for a down payment on a house. So they're renting. There are many boomers, such as myself, who are cashing out of their house in the burbs and buying a condo or an apartment, high rise someplace. So they don't have to do all the maintenance and yard work and worry about those things anymore. So I think there's a changing macro across it. And then it's just finding, a space that is, you can always find, there's always something good about every place, be it Topeka, Kansas, or Tallahassee, Florida. And I just name those cities arbitrarily. I hope I don't offend anybody. But either of those cases, there's probably still good apartment buildings in both. But I think you increase your probability when you're looking I like the Sun Belt, my own bias, where, the southern half of the U.S., where there's growing population and there's growing income base. So you mitigate one of your risk as an investor by simply buying into a neighborhood that has high income and high population growth versus the opposite, a place where income is stagnant and the population is stagnant, hasn't grown in many years. So that tends to be today in the Southwest. And so, yes, I think those opportunities still, you mentioned Avalon. I mean, that's a huge opportunity for growth. I'm in the Houston, Texas market. We're still building like crazy down here. It's rumored the state bird is the construction crane.
I like that.
So it happens. And so, yeah, I think, and I'm just, Dr. Jacalyn, I'm a proponent is that you buy in all markets and you sell in all markets whenever you've achieved your business plan. But you just buy very differently. So today, interest rates are much higher. When we bought assets 18, 20 months ago, we bought in variable rate debt. Today, I wouldn't touch anything that had variable rate debt. You'd want to buy it on fixed rate debt. So it's just like buying homes. You buy homes in any market as well if you're comfortable with that. And I hope that makes sense.
Yes. Thank you, Randy. So how long will someone's money be tied up, and what types of returns are you able to offer with your projects?
So I mentioned, I think the potential of this as a private investor, I have invested in probably 20 of these, 25 of these over the last 8-9 years, multifamily properties in various syndications across the country, different markets spread across the country in those high growth areas. And I would say that I've averaged a 1.65 equity multiplier. So that means very simply that for every dollar I've invested, I've gotten $2.65 back. Now, as a financial guy, I'll take that return all day, every day. And I hope it continues. Past performance is never any guarantee of future success. But I think given those macro drivers of a emerging rental nation and everybody needing a place to live, that multifamily is a good place to be, I think you should at least do better than the market. And you will do better than the market because you're going to include in there the tax advantage that you don't get in the market. Which is in the form of showing a large tax loss, but having positive cash flow on the asset is a beautiful thing, and that's the start of it there.
And Randy, for our audience who is really interested in learning more, do they have to travel someplace to look at these projects? How does that work?
That depends on their objectives and their risk tolerance. And some people, I have investors that want to go see the property wherever it's at, and I have others of them that just trust me and say, Randy, if you like it, I like it. So no, you don't have to. I want to encourage investors, especially as they're starting to be active and do their own little search. You can do immense work online, right? Google Earth will show you the neighborhood. You can got the address, you can get online, and Google Earth will show you the neighborhood, what the surrounding areas around the property, and give you a ton of data. You can search statistics if you want, but you don't have to. But generally speaking, people invest with those they know, like, and trust. So I say get to know a sponsor first, gain familiarity with them, get to know comfort level of what kind of assets they're doing. That's readily available. There's out there today, on the internet, you can find those. Call me. I'd love to talk to you. But there's just an immense opportunity out there for these today, because so many people are chasing that higher return versus the stock market.
And Randy, I think I shared this before. My dad was into real estate as well, but he also said you can't take a brick to the bank. So you have to have a certain amount of money set aside so that you can pay your bills and that you're in good shape financially. And then some portion of it you could put into real estate as well as other things.
Hey, absolutely. You mentioned earlier, and I think I failed to mention. So generally speaking, some of these have a higher entry fee than a stock market might. But generally, a private placement offering, of which these go out in there, is generally about $50,000 to join the private placement offering. And so, you do have to save it. Some to come up with that. There are avenues to put some of your 401k money in there if you think you don't have it. But yes, I would agree with your father. You can't take that brick to the bank, but that brick hopefully creates a positive cash flow and capital appreciation that will satisfy your spending habits over a period of time. And so I started out small. I did one of these. It lasted 4 years. I turned around and took the proceeds and I bought two. So one became two, two became four became eight. And there's just a multiplier effect like that can work and again, this isn't a new strategy I developed, Dr. Jacalyn, as you know, and I'm sure your dad did the same thing. It's just what many have done before us and why it is so successful. Is just follow the playbook. It's not anything new, or there's nothing new under the sun, as we say.
Yeah, I love that you just shared that. And also for people who are in corporate and they don't want to leave, they can still get involved. So they can still direct some of the retirement money into a private placement through a custodian.
Yeah, it's back to where we started. How much, ask the audience, how much of your portfolio, of your lifetime savings, is in real estate today? And you probably don't know the answer to that, but I'd challenge you to go look at it. And I would say, back to my corporate endowment that we had, 8 to 12%. That's just a benchmark. You can disagree. You have more. I have a very large portion of my net worth involved in real estate, much greater than that. But 8 to 12% of whatever you have is a good starting point to think about real estate as a diversification strategy, if nothing else, especially if you're in corporate America. You're tied to the stocks and bonds and the 401ks, and you really need to think about some alternative investments there, real estate being a great one.
And I also love what you're sharing, that you don't have to be an expert. You need to do your due diligence, and then you need to align yourself with people you trust who have a track record that's proven to be successful.
Yeah, I don't know the people that run my mutual funds. I could never find them if I wanted to. But for each of the properties I've invested in, I know who the lead sponsor or the general partner is, and I have their contact information, and I can call them, and I have. And investors on your audience should feel free. That's the beautiful thing is I got people calling me, asking all kinds of questions, and that's fine. That's what we want. We want to help bring the financial sophistication of people along the way and help them grow and make some money as well.
Randy, where do you see the future of InvestArk properties, and what's the value that your long-term plan can bring to our audience?
And so InvestArk Properties is a boutique private equity company in Houston, Texas, and we focus solely on finding, identifying, and acquiring and operating multifamily units in that Sun Belt region. So today I operate in Greensville, South Carolina, Houston, Dallas, and Tucson, Arizona. And so the future of InvestArk Properties is specifically to continue to identify multifamily properties that create a healthy return for our investors, and to continue to buy and sell it when we achieve our business plan of a certain return to investors. And this is something I hope to be doing for a long time to come yet, after leaving the corporate world to do it. So I'm committed, and I have a substantial portion of my own money in this space as well, as I said.
And what about your family? Is anyone thinking of getting involved as well?
That's a great question, Dr. Jacalyn. I believe you have children too, but children either want to be like their parents or not. So I have 3 millennial daughters today that I'm one of them has started to invest and come alongside of me, but I'm still looking for that heir apparent that would that would maybe run the show one day. But so far, dad does it, so it's okay. I like the idea of making money, but I don't want to do what my dad does. So that's okay too. But hopefully they'll make some money and become convinced. It's a good way to go.
Absolutely. And I don't have any children, believe it or not. No
Okay.
children.
Well, you've got a lot of advantages in life.
Well,
Don't let my wife hear this.
No, I won't tell her. I know a number of young people in their late 20s, early 30s who have started investing in alternative investments and are already millionaires.
Yeah. And, I only wish, so I've got an MBA in finance. I've got a CPA, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't mean anything. I only wish someone would have kicked me in the butt when I was in my 20s or 30s to do that same thing. Kudos to your friends. They are well ahead of the curve. I'm envious.
You know what's interesting, Randy? I think we're in the same age group, but I remember when I was growing up at that age, it was about getting married. It was all about getting married and settling down. And I worked for AT&T for a number of years, 10 years, and I thought I was going to be there forever. It was like finding that job. Everything was going to be permanent. And today things are so different.
Well, how true. I mean, I remember graduating from college and joining the corporate world and looking upward at the corporate world and say, what do I got to do to get there? How do I get there, and how fast can I get there? And there's nothing wrong with that. It did well for me for many years and provided a nice income. But there's such a gig economy out there today of people working from home, and there's just so many opportunities and to run businesses today. The back house software and tools are there that just weren't there when we were of up and coming age. And so, I try to tell each of my millennial kids about making sure they have an alternative income stream, whether it's real estate or something else. Yeah, have a day job until you're comfortable leaving it with wherever you're at financially. But there's just a tremendous amount of opportunities out there that weren't there to you and I when we got started. That's okay.
Yeah, it's so true. I also am very happy that I had my corporate career because I learned so many things. But I also realized that my creativity was really stagnant because I didn't believe in myself in a number of ways. And now I'm able to create. And I feel like that's what you're saying also, that you get this base level of education and experience that you can then use to run your own business and channel it any way that you want. You don't have to answer to anyone in terms of where are you, what are you doing, where's the report, it's Monday, let's go around the horn and talk about ours. Right? It's completely different.
Well, I'm just smiling only because I've been there, done that, going around the horn on Monday morning. Where's the report? Brings back vivid memories. But yeah, I mean, there's in my space today, this commercial real estate market, I've seen, I call them people kids, but they're much younger than I am, and they've got maybe only a high school diploma. Some have master's degrees and advanced degrees. Others of them don't. Others of them just have a very entrepreneurial mindset. And so you don't need the degrees to do that. And you don't need the degrees for other aspects either, starting a business, running a business, if that's what you want to do. But somebody told me a long time ago, dream is a bargain no matter what the cost. And so chase your dreams, man. If that is something you want to run a business, or love to talk to you about working in multifamily, but there's just tremendous opportunities out there, and you don't have to join the corporate world. I agree with you. For me, it was a great education. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I don't speak badly of it, but you don't have to go that way and work 40 years and then retire. That paradigm has been shattered.
Goodbye to that. Randy, I'm wondering, we're here now, we're live streaming on a platform that's an alternative to the television stations that we've grown up with and known. And now social media has such a huge presence. How has it changed the real estate market, if at all? And how does it support you with the work that you're doing?
So if you'd have known me 2 years ago, I would have been anti-social media, just because what do I need it for? I don't care where Joe is having lunch at or what diner he's having lunch at, but I've come 180 degrees. So social media is a huge aspect of almost any business today. It certainly is InvestArk Properties, and what it is, it's a way of, for me, it's a way of promoting the brand and showing and helping educate the population as to what it is we do and how we do it. And so I love taking opportunities like this to meet your audience and share with them one slice of the pie. But social media is almost a prerequisite today to be seen there, because people don't know who InvestArk Properties is. They see a post, hopefully they go out and look at the website, they get an understanding of what we do, they see our portfolio, and would love to then schedule a call and talk to them. So it's a huge element today versus cold calling, right? That we did back when we first started things generations ago. That, I guess that still works, but it's just nobody answers the phone anymore if they don't know the number that's calling. But I can't underestimate the social media and the tools out there in social media. I can go out now today and post. I put out stuff on holidays, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Father's Day, Labor Day. There's tools out there that I love them. I can go out and post for the next year, all the holidays right now, and have them scheduled to release automatically. It's great. It's fantastic. And it's such a time saver. So, and especially the social media, I think I also divide it into the age groups. So if I'm talking to a 30 or 40 some year old person that's about multifamily or investing, it's a prerequisite to be there. If I'm talking to a 50, 60 person, a corporate exec, a former corporate exec that has a lot of assets and is just looking for investment, he or she may not have to have the awareness on social media. There's still that divide, but they're going to go out and look at me if they've just met me, or if somebody in your show is interested in this, they're going to go out and Google my name and see stuff about me, and that's the first place to build a relationship with. So integral tool is the short answer.
Excellent. I agree with you. And we have your website available if you'd like me to share it.
Please. Okay.
Let's take a look. I'm just going to share my screen.
Yeah, you can take a snapshot. I should have put a QR code out there is what I should have done, but I didn't think of that.
Okay, here we are.
So there is, and it's www.invest, up in the upper right-hand corner, invest-ark.com is the name of the website, and that's where we're at. You go out there and you can see the portfolio. If you want to, more about me and investment strategy, under the resource page there is a bunch of podcasts I've been on, and a ton of free information out there.
Tell us about this free course.
Yeah, the free course is something we want to, we try to provide value to our investment community. And so that's a course that's out there is talking about underwriting and how you begin to underwrite, to look at how you value a property. And it's a kind of a 101 with a property manager that I've worked with. So go out and take a look at it, sign up for it. It is free, so you can toss it if you don't like it and use it if you want to. But just trying to provide value to the investment community there, and there'll be more releases coming on that website in the near future.
And I think as entrepreneurs, that's a big key piece of how you differentiate yourself and bring value, is to offer something something of
Right.
value. So you're providing education right here that people can take this course and then reach out to you with any questions. Let's continue here.
That's just a quick video on myself talking about the InvestArk properties there. And then down at the bottom is kind of the why we invest or how we invest, as we just talked about there. Positive cash flow, tax efficiency, forced appreciation. And I also say preferential financing is the one there where, that's the thing too about investing in commercial real estate. You can get non-recourse loans versus if I go out and buy single family houses, they're all recourse. So for those who may not know what that is, a recourse loan is just simply that I'm personally liable for. And a non-recourse loan, such as the multifamily, the collateral from the lender is the asset itself. It's not my personal financial statement, which is a huge differentiator.
That sure is. And here's the process right here.
Yep. Locate, acquire, and manage properties assets. And then I think if we scroll down a little bit farther, I got a couple testimonies out there from that's me and what I've done. And then where we're at today is we're at about $100 million in assets under management, a total of 4,000 units, and some statistics there for the people who like numbers. And I think down further, there's a couple testimonials from some gentlemen that have invested with me along the way as well. So take a look at it. It's a lot of information for your audience to digest.
Absolutely. It's very comprehensive. And so here are some of your projects.
Yeah, there's some of the projects. So in the upper left-hand corner is a property. This is the one in Weatherford, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas. Longfellow is the one that we've gone full cycle on there. So we show there that we returned 1.9. So that means for every dollar invested, $2.90 back. Ponderosa, and these are still living assets that we've invested in as a key principal or a limited partner. And actually, I need to update this because I mentioned the Tucson, Arizona, and the Greensville, South Carolina property that aren't represented on here yet.
So, Randy, just to clarify for our audience, they're looking at this and thinking, okay, I'm going to take that course. I have more to learn. So for Longfellow Apartments, you acquired it in January of 2018, and then you sold it literally a year and 10 months later, and then returned the investment to the investors.
Yep. That's what we call in my business a home run.
It sure is.
Not all, past performance is no indication of future success. So I can't say I'm going to replicate that in every deal, but that one was, 21 months. We effectively doubled the investors' money. And there were a lot of headaches along the way, but it worked out well. And some of these other assets today, contemporary ones, Lone Oak, I'm real excited about. There's a difference, just to pause for your audience. Longfellow was a 1965 built property. Flat roofs, as you can see there, chillers, boilers, and just by the pictures. Lone Oak on the other side, 300, brand new asset, as you can see. It was built and it has pitched roofs, so entirely different investments. You say, why would a person may ask, what's up with the difference there? 1965 versus a 2001 build. Well, the simple answer is whoever makes money. The Longfellow one was newly built. The developer had leased it up, so it was 90+% occupancy. But what the business opportunity there, or the business case is the previous owner, the developer, did not maximize market rents. So really, all we've been doing for the last year is increasing the rents on that property to achieve what the local market will bear. And we're doing very well. Longfellow, on the other hand, was what we call a value add property, where we had to go in and make a lot of improvements to the units, repair roofs, replace roofs, paint it, do the office. So point of it is just two different investment strategies. Neither one of them are wrong. And different investors have different comfort levels with either model. Some people only want the newer, sexy stuff like Lone Oak that they can tell their friends that look at this asset I bought into, versus, I don't know, I kind of like Longfellow and can tell people I doubled people's money in 21 months.
I'm with you there. I just wanted you to explain something else for people who don't have a background. So here, locate target Class B and C plus. What does that mean?
Yeah, so commercial real estate is broken into classes, class A, B, C, and D. And you generally don't hear many people talk about a D as in dog, but they're out there. So A, B, and C just really has to do with, we really divide it between the asset and the neighborhood. So the A asset is that Weatherford, that Lone Oak one I talked about, brand new build, brand new property. And it was, I could live there. It's a beautiful property. Longfellow, on the other hand, would be a C plus property, a C, because it was 50 years old, and it had old technology, chiller boilers for the HVAC system, and so it had improvements to be made. And in between there, so you probably have your C class. It's based upon the submarket it's in and the age of the asset. There's no single rule that says cut off, but generally your C's and C pluses, because C plus because it was in very good condition for a 50-year-old asset. But your C's are probably going to be in the 70s to the mid 80s. B class set probably going to be in the 90s to the early 2000, and then I'd say anything after 2000 is probably an A class. Just because of its age. And so in those A classes, you have newer technology, you have smart technology with thermostats and all that stuff, versus the 50-year-old class C or C plus property that doesn't have those amenities or those technologies. And so those are some of the differentiators, if that helps the audience understand.
Absolutely. Another question I have for you is it possible to take a C class, an older building, and then make it into an A class without gutting it and
Well, I guess anything's possible. It's unlikely. I would say the most, I think what you do is and why do people look at C class housing? Well, C class housing is the workforce housing. That's where all the numbers are, right? That's where people that are have day jobs and work and live paycheck to paycheck, which is a lot of people in America. That's why they're so popular and why they're looked at favorably, versus the A class, which is newer builds and attracts, the work from home people. And so either one is fine, but to take a C class property that generally and make it an A class is pretty tough to do. But what you can do is you can bring it up to market conditions. So excuse me, you can go in and, you can upgrade the units interiorly. You put in new flooring, you put in new cabinetry, you put in cultured marble or granite countertops, you replace the appliances and things like that, that really, just like an older home, you're upgrading and bringing up to the current technology. And I think it's possible to really improve the community. And that's what most people want to do, is improve the community. You want to have a place that's attractive for tenants to live in. So they're coming to you versus you having to go to them. And so that's really that's called a value add strategy, where you're buying a property, you're changing the outside, you're changing the interiors, you're upgrading it, and hopefully you can charge a higher rent for it.
Great answer. Thank you so much. It reminds me kind of like taking a 60-year-old woman who wants to be 30 and putting some fillers and Botox and going, voila.
I'll let you say that, not me.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
funny.
Well, thank you so much for spending this time with us today. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to spotlight you again, and whatever you'd like to leave our audience with in terms of who you'd like to contact you and the best way to do so.
Well, Dr. Jacalyn, first, let me thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your show. It's just a great opportunity. And to the listening audience, there below is my LinkedIn connection. Contact me there. My email address at invest-ark.com, and then also the website that Dr. Jacalyn just showed there, invest-ark.com. Appreciate the time. Would love to chat with anybody, especially if you got any interest of learning about multifamily and commercial real estate. You can just connect me there, and I'll get you my Calendly, and would love to jump on a quick phone call with you and go wherever you want to go.
Thank you so much, Randy. And we will be replaying the show several more times in the next week, so people have another opportunity to watch it live, so to speak. And they can always go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV and Radio. Thanks again, Randy. I hope you'll come back and see us again on another program.
Hey, have a great day. Thanks again.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone. Please do reach out to Randy. That's why he's here, providing education and information. All right, we are signing off. Our next show is coming up. Thank you for being here. We'll see you again soon.